Well, hello again, guys. Today is going to be kind of a little bit of a short one, but been wanting to go over how we use the Bafang display on my Trek bike with a BBS02, and so I thought maybe I would share that with you guys today. And it's going to be a similar features on any of the Bafang mid drives, so stick around. Okay guys, we're going to take a look at the Bafang display, and first off let me tell you that no, I'm not abandoned wearing the helmet. It's just I'm supposed to be taking it kind of easy this weekend, so I'm just riding around here a little bit. Wanted to do this. Now we ran this video yesterday, but the sun was too much on it, so we've ducked it into the shade here. But for our in the morning, to turn it on, you've got a very simplistic little power button right here. It has your plus and your minus and your power button. All right, you've also got a USB port underneath of it, and to get into our additional set, okay, well, we'll go over just the plain old regular settings here. You've got your power, your tripometer. You can flip over to an odometer. The range on this particular display does not work. You've also got a clock on this display. You've got up here at the top, you've got your battery indicator of what's left on there. And let's see, you've got your time that you've been since you've reset. And then of course, now we're back to our tripometer. All right, so let's get into the main aspects of the display. Okay, so now that we have the typical layout of it here, we're going to go ahead and discuss a little bit of the features that's on the inside of it. So if we double click the power button, let's see what we get there. All right, now English is the only language that this particular one comes in, but you can come down and you've got your imperial or metric system, and that's going to be for your, your kilometers versus miles. Your brightness is going to be the next setting on here. If we get into that, we can click the minus button to turn down the brightness of the display, and we'll keep that up. I keep it up at the brightest. I'm getting old. My eyes are not as good as they used to be. So now auto off, this is going to turn off the display after 5 minutes. And if we get into that, we can toggle it up to 9 minutes, or you can turn it completely off to where it just will not turn itself off. You have to manually turn it on or off, and you can drop it down to 1 minute, and I just keep mine set at 5 minutes. That seems to work pretty well for us. Your scene, I use the digital scene, and that's going to be, well, let's go out here. You've got your real-time speed, your assist level, the power that you're using. I keep it on the tripometer, and then you've also got a clock on there, and you've also got your battery indicator. That's the one that I use. Now, if we go down and we use the analog scene, that's going to give you all the same information, okay, but it's going to be set up a little bit differently. With this dark background, I'm not able to see it out in the sunlight quite as well, so I typically don't use that, but it does give you the same information, and it's just a personal preference. So we'll go back and we'll drop that back into the digital. Now, next up is our battery indicator, and I keep mine on %. You can also turn it off, and as you can see up here, you still have the indicator on the battery, but you don't have any numbers to go through with that. Or you can put it on to the voltage, and that's going to give you 50.8 volts. Everybody says, oh, that's the most accurate, that's the one you should use. Well, I just use the percentage. Yes, I understand if I've went, 45 miles and I've used 50%. It says 50% of the battery. I know I'm not going to make 90 miles on that ride. You know, it's going to drop down lower as we get lower with the percentage. Okay. Next up is going to be our power indicator. And what that's going to do, I'm not sure if I can actually show you that without riding right here. We may have to just take a little ride with it, but the power indicator is my wattage right here. Let's see if we can put this thing up on a kickstand and hit a little bit of, okay, you can see it's, you know, it's, you've seen it flash 25. I've got the wheel up, and so we're just not using any power. Let's see if we can make it use some power here. We'll have to let that wheel drag. There you go. We're letting the wheel drag, and you can see that it's using some power right there. And how many watts you're using. You can also set that up on a scale, and that would be, yeah, it's trying to jump forward. It's not using a whole lot, but it's going to have a little scale that crawls across on there. And I believe you could also do current on that. Yep, you can do current there as well. And let's go out and take a look here. And of course, that's going to be your amps. And yeah, that's not going to give us much unless I'm actually riding the bike. So let's go back to our digital, which is what I use. All right, my clock. You've got the year, the day, the month, the time, and everything. It is a 24-hour clock, so in the PM it will say, you know, it's 14 and 22, basically showing what would be military time. And it's not the most accurate clock in the world. It will lose about a minute every month, something like that. So we'll have to set it back to where it's at. I usually honestly use my cell phone for that. Password. I do not put a password in this. That would be a password to open the phone up to or to open up the display to use in the first place. I stay away from that. Now here we've got more advanced settings. Your wheel size goes off of how many inches, and of course this is a 29er right here, so we've got it set at 29 inches. Some of you guys with 26-inch fat tires, you might take a look at that, because you might actually wheel circumference be on a 29-inch bike. You know, the wheel may be just as high as a 29-inch bike, so that might be something that you'd want to set in your own. The battery, we're using a 48-volt system, not a 36, not a 52 volt. We're using a 48 volt. The USB port that we talked about earlier, it has an on and off button. And you can turn that off. Well, Blaine, why in the world would you want to turn it off? Just leave it on. Well, if you're riding out in the rain and you don't want to take a chance on it splashing up into there and shorten things out, you can turn it off for that purpose right there. Next up is the light sensor, and there is a light sensor. Let's see if I can remember exactly where it is on this. But you can turn it on or turn it off and set the sensitivity to it. Whoops. Let's get back to our light sensor here. Turn it on, turn it off, and then you've got high, medium, and low for the sensitivity on it. I leave mine set at medium. What that does is it turns on the front headlight when it gets dark enough. Let's see if we can, well, we'd have to exit out of here. Let's see if we can cover this up enough for it to turn that on. I forget exactly where that sensor is there. And the front light is on, but you can't really see. There you go. Well, I think that might be the sensor right there. I can't remember where it's at. See what we can do here. I'm trying to cover it. There we go. Now you can see it changes your display there, so you can see it more readily in the evening. So the light turns on automatically. And let's get back into here. And The advanced settings, we're going to go into that in just a moment. Factory settings, this is going to let you set back to the factory settings, and your information is going to be any type of errors that you've had. We've not had any errors on this, and it's going to show, you know, your basically all the information of a lifetime, not once it's been reset. You know, I'll typically reset like the tripometer and the clock. We'll go ahead and exit out of that for just a second. The clock down here, if you, well, we'll take the tripometer for right now. I typically reset that when I change the battery, when I charge the battery up. Next up, odometer and the range. The time, that's typically set when I reset the or recharge the battery. So we've been 2 hours and 43 minutes on this battery. It's still saying 100%. So that's pretty good. But when we start riding it, it'll go down a little bit from that. Let's get back into our advanced settings here. And we're going to put in our password. Our password for this display is 1919. And that's going to put us in. Our speed limit is nothing. You know, there is no speed limit. It's not going to go 99 miles an hour. The assist levels are 9. We can set that between 9, 5, and 3 as well. Now, level 3, if we're set with 3 levels, it's going to be basically taking my number 3, number 6, and number 9 levels is what's going to be 1, 2, and 3. If we do 5 levels, it's going to be 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. I leave mine on 9 levels because that gives me the most versatility. Error codes, I was mistaken. The error codes show up here, and we've not had any error codes on this bike. So that's going to be basically it in a nutshell for this particular display. This is the DPC14, I believe it's called. But most of your Bafang displays for the mid-drives are going to have very similar information. Some of them might have 1 or 2 more features. Some of them might have 1 or 2 less features. But that's going to pretty much do it for this one here. Now, there is something else that we can do. I've got a programming cable for this that I've gotten into a couple of times and reset everything. I've set everything to lower the performance on this bike so that it runs cooler. It doesn't need to run 30 miles an hour, you know, because I'm just not going that fast, but it gives me longer range as well. If you guys would be interested in that, you basically are plugging it in and turning your phone into a computer that changes and rewrites the entire program for the controllers for the Bafang mid-drive motors. If you guys are interested in that, let me know in the comments down below, and we'll see about doing a video on that as well. That gets into very advanced things, tells you how much percentage you're given on each power level. It also tells you how far you rotate the pedals, how much current comes on in the beginning, how much, you know, the limit of each one, the current on each one, as far as the limits on them. And it's extremely, extremely detailed. If there's an interest in that, we'll certainly go ahead and do a video, but that's something you just plug it into your phone, and there's an app that you can download for that. But for the basic display, that's pretty much it. I can tell you, I could have lived with this display just the way it came out of the factory with no problems. Like I said, we did tune it down a little bit. It's not that it was too fast or anything like that. It's just I wanted to make sure I got longer range on it and did not run the motor real hot. So I believe that's going to do it for this one, guys. I'm going to get back in there and rest up some more. So, hey, if you like this and you want to see more of this type of content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the bell so you see when these things are coming out. That lets us know that you guys are interested in what we might have to say about this e-biking. And so Michelle and I both really appreciate that. But that's going to do it for this time around, Internet. Hey, till the next time, stay safe, God bless, and keep the wheels rolling. Once again, we're out.